Okay, let's talk about form reset workouts. You guys know I am a big proponent of progressive overload. I think the majority of your muscle gains will come from getting stronger in the gym, pushing more weight for more reps. But something that comes with this is the tendency to sacrifice your form in pursuit of greater reps. So, paint a little picture. For example, standing barbell curls. You're tracking your weights last week with the 70-pound bar. You got 11 reps. You look in your little logbook or your phone, or you just remember it in your head, whatever. The next workout you go, you know you got to get 12. Standing curls are a really easy movement to get a little bit theatrical with the form to eke out a 12th rep. Yes, I did it. You're pumped. You get that endorphin rush. But did you actually get stronger? Or are you at the same strength and you just deteriorated your quality of form in order to get another rep? And if you're putting pressure on yourself, focusing and trying to emphasize increasing those reps until they get up high enough to the, let's say 15 or whatever the top of the rep range is that you're using, where you then increase the weight and naturally the reps fall back down, and then you're back at 10 reps and you just keep chipping away. Try to get 11 the next time, try to get 12, whatever. You know how it goes. You're going to end up letting your form slip a little bit, and you may not be aware of it. This happens to me all the time. And so a useful way to combat this, to make sure that you're isolating actually getting concrete strength gains and not just deterioration of form, is to mix in these form reset workouts. So you guys, if you're familiar with the channel, I like to do a little bit of explosive, not so perfect, but reasonable form, at least for, a couple sets at the beginning. So with the tricep dumbbell extensions that I've got here, the last two workouts, I've done form reset workouts where I've been stuck at 12 with the 140-pound dumbbell. Instead of going, I'm going to try to push for 13, because your little peanut brain, given that you're a meathead and you're trying to get your meat to brain ratio absolutely maxed out, blasted into the freaking stratosphere, it's difficult to hold on to more than one thought at once. I have trouble with this because all the blood is where it should be in your freaking piped Adironies. So if you're thinking I'm going to get 13 reps, it's going to be harder to prioritize the form. And especially when you're going balls to the wall, it's hard to even have a conscious thought. You're interdimensionally traveling through the galaxy of freaking gains. You're just sort of in a rogue state for 15 seconds while you obliterate yourself. All that being said, what I'm trying to get at is that you got to prioritize one or the other. I'm going for an extra rep. I'm going to try to keep reasonable form, but it's going to be hard to tell if it's perfect. Or I know the reps I'm getting that I got last time, and I'm just going to go for perfect form. And usually what's going to happen is you may drop a rep, because if your form's been getting all helter-skelter and you go, okay, and you may not be aware of it, but it's been a month, I'm due for a form reset workout. I know, I got 12 last time with the dumbbell tricep extensions. I'm going to prioritize form first. And if I get 12, great, but I'm definitely not going to get 13. Maybe I get 11. In my case, usually you lose a rep. But these last two sessions, I've honed the form in and I've maintained at 12. So I think I'm actually gaining strength because the form has gotten cleaner, but the reps have stayed the same. So I think I'm actually getting stronger, which is great. But typically I would expect to maybe lose a rep. It goes down to 11 or something, 10. And you're like, okay, now this feels better. And when you look in the mirror or whatever, you're focused on your set and you're just, okay, let me use good form. Let me get a fuller extension, in this case with the triceps. I don't want to fully lock out the movement. I think when the weight is behind your head like that, I'm kind of pressing up and back. It's actually counterproductive to completely lock the elbow out. But I also want to come up like close to that, just shy. There's still tension on the triceps, but I don't want to start, just freaking short stroking it way down here. So I'm trying to get a fuller extension, get a good deep stretch, and just have a little bit of control in the eccentric, explosive burst on the way up. A little bit more control with the weight. Obviously, anytime you slow down, make your form better, you get weaker in terms of the amount of weight and reps that you can move. You use more momentum, you use more speed, you can chuck more weight around, and it's a fine balance. And I do think it is very beneficial. This is going to sound like a broken record if you're a regular subscriber, But the use of the fast explosive tempo within reason, don't let it get too out of control, in my experience, has led to a drastically faster rate of progress over time. It's much more conducive to adding strength. So I think that's why it's worthwhile to let your form, go buck wild a little bit. But then mixing in the form reset workouts, maybe once every couple weeks, once a month, where normally you're chasing reps. Every time you're like, I got 12 last time, you put that number in your head. I'm going for fucking 13, man. I'm going to get 13. You don't get it. You take an L. Next time, take another L. Take another L. 23 days later, got 13. That's the way it goes. The science people will say, add a rep every workout. Add 2 reps a week. Like, what the hell? The hell are we talking about, man? What goddamn world are you living in? It's exciting when you get an additional rep, though. But anyways, this form reset workouts I've found to be a very useful tool for modulating your progress to make sure that you're actually making concrete gains. And certain movements, it's more necessary than others. For example, the standing bicep curl, it's so easy to start getting some torso lean, some bounce out of the bottom, It's like, if you don't pay attention, 2 months down the line, I've looked at my form in a video clip and been like, holy shit, I'm just ragdolling the barbell around. Like, that does not look good. I look like an idiot. So you don't really realize it. So if you're in this boat and you're chasing progressive overload with a little bit of burst in your tempo, which I highly recommend, make sure you mix in that form reset workout, and don't get so upset if you lose a rep or two, because you're just kind of modulating it back to where it should be, and then you can start chasing reps again. But it's just to rein yourself in, You're like a freaking rabid dog with rabies, just chomping at the bit, trying to get loose from the chain, dragging the whole goddamn dog house through the yard. What the fuck? Anyways, that's my little tip of the day. That's what I was focusing on. I think it will definitely help you guys to get more juicy. If you want the ARM program, it's in the description. If you want to help support the channel, if you think the ramblings of a madman are useful and they help you to get huger, that's great. I'm honing in on 19 inches, baby. Honing in. I restrict myself to doing 1 measurement a month, because otherwise every time I'm like, fuck. I always do it cold, but sometimes your arms will fluctuate throughout the day. You wake up, you look super flat. Depending on what you've been doing, what your body temperature is at, what kind of energy is in the air, what the temperature is outside, the humidex level. All of these things can impact your level of juicy fullness by tiny margins. And so usually I'll kind of time it and I'll be looking in the mirror. Fuck, I look pretty full. Get the tape measure out. Damn it! Same size. Or sometimes like 1/8 of an inch less. Fuck, shit. Should have waited. Anyways, so in a bit of a wacky mood today, but measuring once a month, I think, is a better way to go. Because realistically, you're not, even if you gain 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch in a month, like, unless you're in a newbie gains phase or you're on the ARM program, yeah, you're probably not gaining more than 1/4 of an inch in a month, 1/2 an inch tops, most of the time. You might have little bursts where you'll gain 1/2 inch in a month, but usually it's like at best 1/8 or 1/4. So even, the measurement, you're trying to keep it consistent, but there isn't even really enough tangible growth to, objectively document an improvement if you're measuring once every 2 weeks. So once a month max. I say all that to wrap this video up with the point that what are we saying? I got another measurement coming in August sometime here. Wait till a night where I'm feeling full, not pumped. We're not fudging the measurements. With a pump, I've been measuring at 19 and 0.25. The pump adds about 1/2 an inch. But sometimes, it's in your head too. Sometimes I'm looking at the arms and I'm like, fuck, I think I'm growing. And then I measure and they're the same. So if you're not measuring your arms, I highly recommend it. And I write it down, keep a log, because you can get kind of in your head, and it's like an objective measure of, like, at the end of the day, that tape measure around your arm, as long as you keep the measuring method consistent, it's gonna indicate whether you're growing or not, regardless of how freaking sick and huge you feel. Or maybe you don't think they're making any progress, and then you measure and you're up 1/4 inch, man. That could be a little fire under your freaking cornhole to get you going again. Let's leave it there before I embarrass myself any further. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Go out there and make some freaking arm gains. Unleash the girth monsters, the big old thickies, the upper decker ham hogs. See ya.